So if I can jump in real quick, you mentioned a few words I'm super interested about: the success, the measurement, right? The metrics. You also highlighted that we shouldn't measure the long form video earlier based on 200 views because, right, the content was meant to be distributed in different forms and drive the conversion across the full funnel. Vivian has a question. I have the same question too, right? What are the metrics, right? What are the indicators to show a successful content strategy? Because you mentioned ROI as well. This is where if I had a performance brand, I cannot figure out, right, how good it's good.
Yeah, that's a great question, and thanks for asking it, Vivian. I think that content should own a number, and in some organizations this is the case, but in a lot of ways, in sort of the last 10 years, this has never been the case. In many companies that I've seen, content has been focused on brand. I think content should own a revenue number. Content team. I don't think that every piece of content its purpose is to drive revenue. And so you have to separate what job is this piece of content doing. Is it to capture demand? Is it to convert people? Is it to influence pipeline? And you need to understand which pieces of content are doing that and which pieces of content are there to build a longer term audience that you're going to convert at a later stage when they're in market to buy. And so, so there's the revenue piece of looking at, you can look at it on a page level of conversions, what's converting to opportunities, which content is converting to opportunities. That's going to be very bottom of funnel. You can look at it on a influenced pipeline model. Which pieces of content do we see most often with our closed won deals that our prospects engaged with? You can look at it on a pipeline acceleration, like which deals close fastest and which content were they looking at. And that would be a really great place to start to see which pieces or topics we should continue pursuing to make more of. But then on the other side, on the audience building side, you really need to know it's about engagement and resonance. So on the content that's not designed to drive revenue, but it's designed to build audience. I mean, you can look at this, it depends on the channel, but you're going to want to make sure that, if it's social, like you want to be looking at both the reach, the impressions, as well as the engagement and the engagement rate. And then you also want to look at, this is one thing that I think sometimes teams get caught up on. Sometimes teams are very good at creating like viral content or content that's going to reach very far. But what they're not good at is looking at who is actually consuming that. And so you might create something that goes viral or, gets shared around a lot, but it's only 20% of the audience is actually your ICP. And so it's both a quantity metric of how many, but then a quality metric of who. And I think the really savvy teams are also looking at, within that who category, are we reaching the most influential people of that subset, right? At the most influential accounts, at the most influential, are there creators and influencers themselves who are engaging with the content? Because if you can reach and get those people to engage, then you've got something. That your content is working. And so I hope that answers your question, but those are some of the types of things I would look at. You have the top of funnel metrics, and then you have your bottom of funnel metrics.
Yeah, that's very helpful. So basically, my biggest takeaway is there, compared to a lot of the pretty standard dashboards out there, right? Tracking all the paid ads, right? People know how to analyze Facebook or Google or direct mail or other things. There is probably a need for analytics framework to look at the contents exactly to what you said, to cover the breadth and the depth and different quality and quantity at the same time. And I think that's exactly a pain point I myself am experimenting. I'm encountering, because some of the websites are very good at hacking out the SEO and they hijack, right? They jack up all the web metrics, but then the conversion stay the same. So because there is no indication on who, like you suggested, who engage and how deep the engagements are. So sounds like work to do still. It's a lot trickier than the typical paid ads that's more trackable by the UTM, right? Content sounds like there might be a little bit of a technical hurdle to really get into the desired depths.